Dude, I'm so excited for this story.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Hollywood has a problem with how guns are used on screen, and they signed an open letter. A new open letter.
Another petition, huh?
Signed by over 200 actors, filmmakers, and producers. Doesn't ask the entertainment industry to ban guns, but be more mindful of how they're utilized.
Mark Ruffalo and Shonda Rhimes were on it, so...
Oh my gosh, I'm out.
I don't care.
I'm out. Don't care. Opinion discarded.
Okay, so the year is 2025. Like, Hollywood somehow held past a legislation about guns in movies.
Paint the picture.
It's the next James Bond film. He pulls out a gun, he's like, "Hey, stop there!" And like the villain says, like, "Do you know those are used to shoot children in schools? How dare you!"
And he's like, "Oh yes, I think I'll put this gun away and take out this knife."
He sheaves his gun and he's like, "You're absolutely
Can we have
correct."
James Bond, but only finger guns?
Oh,
Pew,
pew,
pew.
let's go.
Love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so this new open letter shared by the Brady campaign and signed by over 200 pretentious elitist
Yeah, I like
Okay.
this editorialization.
I sorry, I
Carry on.
editorialized. Just
Oh,
slightly
really?
there. Some douchey
Yep. Okay.
actors,
Right.
directors, screenwriters, and producers doesn't call for a ban on guns or gun violence on screen. It's also adamant about where the responsibility for the gun violence epidemic lies. Lax gun laws supported by those politicians more afraid of losing power than saving lives. Instead, the letter suggests several ways movies and TV shows can be more mindful of how guns and gun violence are utilized, stating, "We didn't cause this problem, but we want to help fix it."
Aren't you such great people? Not only have you
Fuck
never caused a
you!
problem in your life,
Yes!
Wow. that's
Finally!
fire.
you're coming to
Too
save
much.
us all. Thank you.
Yes,
I'm
that
so
segment.
glad.
That they are coming to save you by showing on screen responsible gun use. I literally went through like 15 photos trying to find my favorite examples of poor trigger discipline.
Alec Baldwin springs
like,
to mind.
Yes. So the idea here is that it's remember when this happened on set, it was the gun's fault, and it was
I think
everyone's fault.
These are people who are so clueless about guns. They want to believe that everyone else
I
is
don't-
just as afraid of them.
I think you're right. Yeah. They're
I don't
projecting.
care about the gun control. This isn't about politics. This is about them. This is the video game debate all over again, where we tell you that guns don't make people violent, right? But right here they say, like, let's talk about what they say. It says, it continues, as American storytellers, our goal is is primarily to entertain, but we also acknowledge that stories have the power to affect change. Cultural attitudes towards smoking, drunk driving, seatbelts, and marriage equality have all evolved in due in large part to movies and television influence.
We're
It's
the
time
heroes.
to take on gun safety. No.
We're the heroes.
Either you're partly responsible for some of the gun violence that's been hyper romanticized in movies for tons of years, just like you're responsible for the ability to get marriage equality, seatbelts, and smoking no longer in the popularity, or none of it actually works and you're not responsible at all. You do not get to have it both ways here. You get to pick one or the other. You don't get to be both the savior of a problem you didn't cause and somebody that bitches about it.
I want to bring up a quote, actually, from a woman I respect greatly named Cher Horowitz. She said, "The Attorney General says there's too much violence on TV and that should stop. But even if you took out all the violent shows, you could still see the news. So until mankind is peaceful enough not to have violence on the news, there's no point in taking it out of shows that need it for entertainment value."
It's a good point. It's a great point.
Why wasn't she here to talk to these people?
Yeah,
She
what
needs
the
to talk
heck?
some sense into
What
them.
do they want to do? Like, what do they want to do with guns? Like, they just, like, for real.
Remember when Alec Baldwin happened, The Rock goes, "We're not going to have guns on set anymore. We're going to use rubber guns." I'm like, or you could just hire competent people that know what they're doing.
Or who don't want to murder other people.
Or you somehow that gun makes it all the way to set and in live
It is
rounds.
awfully suspicious.
kind
huh?
of suspicious.
They do not. I'm so sick of the video game debate do these things cause violence debate. They want to have every discussion but the discussion where they're actually responsible. And here's the thing: I don't think Hollywood is responsible
I don't think
for
so
gun
either.
violence.
Yeah.
But the idea that they are pretentious enough to sign an open letter saying that they're going to help solve a problem that they don't feel like they caused makes my hair turn prematurely gray. It does.
I'm sorry.
I can tell.
Not to mention, it would have been bad enough if I didn't know that, if I didn't have to read it as Mark Ruffalo saying this all to me,
the worst.
which might be the
What a
worst
guy.
part
It is.
of all of this.
Absolutely.
I literally, you cannot make this stuff up. And the level of ego and pretentiousness is literally off the chart, and it blows my mind. So these are their suggestions. The first is to creatively model responsible gun ownership and show consequences for reckless gun use. A famous example that I was pointing out to somebody the other day, I was watching The Wire, and there's this great scene in season 3, okay, where the main cop, he literally does a scene where he's trying to figure out the angle of how a gun was shot in the scene. And what he does is they look through a window, and they look through a window, and they see like where the bullet would have traveled, and he literally pulls his Glock from the holster and holds it up to his own face like this, and does not remove the magazine or clear the chamber.
What?
And this is supposed to be a law enforcement professional who does this, let alone just a civilian who owns a firearm. If you can't even get, and to be fair, I will be fair to them, this was done in 2003 or 4.
So?
They have been, like, I see a lot less cops in shows running around with their finger on the trigger rather than outside the trigger guard. But that does not mean that they do not show.
Okay.
And what is responsible
Who
gun
is
ownership
looking
to them?
for education on how to handle lethal weapons from their TV shows? and
Stop
movies?
looking to movies to tell you how to
I don't
live
think
your
a
life.
lack of trigger discipline on TV ever, cause someone else to mishandle a gun.
If you want to fix this problem, you're going to bring in people who know what the heck they're talking about. You're not going to listen to actors and actresses. It has nothing to do with Hollywood. It's more about people not understanding guns as a tool, not as a threat.
Did you remember when we covered the Gunu?
Yeah.
The dude who died, and then the family had a funeral for him in a nightclub, and they propped him up.
now, how does this tie in?
Okay,
Go
we
on.
watched a music video that he made with
Yeah.
friends, and I saw better trigger discipline amongst a bunch
did
of like,
mention that.
like I was watching him, like there was a dude who had like a Glock with an extended mag, and I'm like, every time he's on screen, I'm like, thank God his finger's outside that trigger guard. 'cause
Right, yeah.
There's no way this was made on. This was not a union project, so there's no way they had like an armorer there making sure that this dude didn't accidentally shoot the camera. Like, can you imagine being that cameraman just pissing his pants the whole time? like
I'm gonna
I
die.
really
I was just like pointing it at him.
like, I don't know if
Alex
I don't know if
Baldwin
the
all over
cameraman
again.
cleared his. The cameraman's like, did you clear the chamber? Did you remove all the guns for the bullets
Maybe
from the
that
magazine?
music video was not made sober. I
Hire-
would venture to guess.
Hire those kids to teach your celebrities how to use guns, because they were better at it than most of the people in your movies.
What does Mark Ruffalo think, though?
Don't we
I don't
all
care.
wanna know?
His face is just so punchable.
The only way this could have been worse is if it was signed by Alyssa Milano.
True.
That
I
might
expect your
have
name shortly. I'm genuinely
that might
surprised
have-
it's not on here.
made it
Or
worse.
Meryl Streep.
Also, it's funny because they mentioned
Ashley Judd.
smoking. People still smoke. They've just infantilized our youth and make them wait till the age of 21 to do it. They just vape. It does
they
not
do,
stop
yeah.
people
That's
from.
a new thing, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 21 age limit on
It is
cigarettes.
relatively
Okay,
new,
I was watching Mr. Robot again recently.
I love
and
that show.
And in that show, Remy Malek's character has a serious issue with opiates, and he takes both opiates, and when he buys them, he buys Suboxone as well, so that when he runs out, he cannot withdraw.
Might not die,
Okay,
yeah.
so am I supposed to be mad at them for showing a realistic portrayal of drug use?
You will be soon.
You're like, what is it like? So is it where is the line between responsible and glorification? I don't expect them to know it. I just don't want the
I feel like
sanctimonious tone.
if you want to glorify any of these things, you should be allowed to, because it's your work.
When yeah, exactly. You're literally stifling the art. And like, what is this supposed to turn into? Like, it's like a story where like a guy breaks into a house and he stops really quick. He's like, "Thank God I've got my gun safely locked away in my Model TX 3000 gun safe."
Yeah, are
the
we just
magazine
supposed
is
to, like,
removed and the chamber is
product
cleared.
placement. Let's go.
Are we supposed to awkwardly show scenes, like silent scenes, where a character like takes out the magazine, locks away their then they have like 3 separate safes. They put the magazine in one safe. It's just like, how are we supposed to subtly do these things?
I also love the idea that one of them's like, he's buying it. He's like, oh, I don't need one of those regular magazines. I want one of those 10-round magazines because I need it to. I hate Hollywood so much.
them all
Dude,
so much.
honestly,
I have an interesting job because I hate most of these people. And
I think it's just like I want to be able to share this link on my Twitter to look like a good person.
yeah.
it's their pathetic failed attempt to remain relevant in culture.
I don't recognize these names. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
don't.
Like, I only know Mark
I-
Ruffalo as like a hilariously bad tweeter.
Shonda Rhimes is the one who created Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder and
Inventing Anna.
and Inventing It, and I think Grey's Anatomy.
Yep.
And Grey's
Yep.
Anatomy. So she's a very powerful Hollywood
Yeah.
producer. J.J. Abrams, Star Wars, Star Trek,
Right.
Alias, all sorts of.
But those are the first
Lost.
3 that are listed.
Yeah.
I don't know about any of the others.
So this is one of those things where it's just full of sanctimonious douches who are telling you how to live your life, and while pretending it's the tone of like, yes, we are the good people of the world, and we're here to bring about change, but not take any responsibility for the problem.
Not only that, it's like we're here to talk about something we are incredibly misinformed about.
have no idea
Like, we
what they're
have
talking about.
no possible comprehension what we're saying. It's like, listen, like I'm in marketing. I can't tell you the amount of times I've heard SEO used wrong.
So it says the letter offers 3 suggestions. So it says showing characters locking their guns safely and keeping them away from children. The second is to hold pre-production discussion about the ways guns are portrayed and consider alternatives that could be employed without sacrificing narrative integrity.
Look, if you didn't
That changes nothing.
if you didn't cause the problem, you can't fix it. I'm sorry. Just
So-
generally speaking.
This is one of those things. Okay, they did this in the Halloween reboot where they're not going to let Jamie Lee Curtis's character carry an AR-15 that might actually kill Michael Myers. They give her a shotgun that runs out quickly and is absolutely useless. When there was back in like 2016, there was some incident that happened, some gun incident, and the lady who on the Blacklist, I always forget her name, but the girl from the Blacklist with James Spader, she's like, my character will no longer use an
Oh, yeah, I remember
AR-15.
that.
And I'm like, you're an FBI agent. You don't get that makes no, like, you're literally sacrificing logic to virtue signal. And then I think they ended up like the next episode she's using one, so it wasn't even accurate. She just wanted the virtue signaling points. These people, man.
They
These
really
people.
belabored the point that they didn't create the problem.
Right, we had nothing to do with
But
it.
we'll help you solve it.
We got
Yeah.
this for you.
It'd be one thing if what they're doing is like teach like actual gun safety. Is like, this is how you put it away. This is like just take like trigger discipline and whatnot. Like if they were like, you know, if they weren't like super on the nose about it and like as just part of the conversation, they're teaching like actual gun discipline. But you know that's not what they're gonna do. They're gonna be like, is that a gun? I heard that's a no-no. Like,
Guns are bad.
We don't like
The
guns.
last is to limit scenes including children in guns, bearing in mind that guns are now the leading cause of death for children and adolescents.
That is
That's
incorrect.
completely
Incorrect.
incorrect.
the
Completely
leading
incorrect.
death.
Abortion is the leading cause of children's deaths.
This is a spicy subject today.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's true. This makes me angry.
But in general, this is a spicier topic. But the thing is, I don't care about like they're not talking about gun law. I don't care about gun laws. I'm talking about them thinking that they're making a difference with their movies. I literally could anybody think of a good scenario where any of these suggestions they made? Can you think of an existing franchise? Okay, James Bond is. You mentioned James Bond earlier, right? So James Bond pulls up to a guy and he's got a gun out and the guy's got a knife. He's like, well, I wouldn't want to shoot this guy when he's got a knife. And he puts his gun away and just fights the guy hand to hand when he could shoot
You
him.
cannot fight someone hand to hand with a knife. That is insane.
James Bond is like, I don't want another Parkland.
oh my god.
Like, what the hell?
This is
So
exhausting.
this is just another example of Hollywood virtue signaling. And then we have this one. It says Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling star in Violent the Gray
Yeah.
Man amidst woke Hollywood's demand for gun control. I don't really care about the gun control part of it. I do want to see this movie though. I'm very excited to see this movie.
That
I-
sounds fun.
I,
The
The
I love.
trailer looked cool.
Yep,
Yeah.
I love the Russo brothers. Hopefully, lots of guns and lots of bad guys being having guns used on them because that's cool, right? Hollywood.
I just don't understand why they can make the point that movies never made a negative impact, but we can
Fix
use
it.
them to
To fix
fix
it.
a problem that
That's
was
right.
never caused
That's what I'm saying.
by it. Like, decide on whether you can influence people.
When Dane was here earlier and I was reading this, I was literally banging my head against the table.
He was.
Like, these
sorry I missed
people,
that.
man, like
Yeah.
they're brazen and they do not care.
And they think like some psycho's gonna watch the movie. He's like, I'm not going to do it.
Now that I've seen this movie,
Oh,
I've
Mr.
changed my
Mark
mind.
Ruffalo, thank you so much. Like, what the hell, dude?
Says no one ever. There was a super chat there.
Oh, was there?
There
It
was.
was.
Oh, Joseph said, Jung describes actors as imposters versus the artist, which moves culture forward. Why do they think their opinions hold so much weight? It makes me laugh.
I would normally say, like, it's not like they don't have a right to their opinion, but they signed an open letter, which makes it clear that they do think that their opinion is very, very important
They
and needs to
think
be
that?
heard.
Who is meant
Because
to respond to it?
They think that they're important because they make a lot of money. That's it. That's all. That's the only reason.
I am over it, my friend. And by the way, we're also going to talk about the Duke Nukem movie that's going in Podluck today, which is going to make all of this even funnier when we get there. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.